the southwest. I think it will come up. Maybe not. I don't know.
Are you allowed to record it Friday night?
I don't know. Anyway,
depends what the Gabba Vicky Shul says. That's all.
Correct.
It's in my house on Friday night, so he could do whatever he wants.
Leave a Zoom on.
Have someone record it.
There you go. He's a Munkacher, right? The Munkacher was pretty makel with this, wasn't he, Mr. Laza?
He was, but then we definitely couldn't call it the Aguda convention.
All right, that's true. That is true. Okay. We start off tonight's Gemara with a real doozer of a case. Yeah. Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. And we're talking about, did you record? Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the upper left-hand corner.
All right, thank you. So again, we're talking about situations where there's multiple accidental or not accidental, multiple reasons for death. That's what we're talking about. And then Rabbah is going through all these different scenarios. So V'Omar Rabbah, it's 7 lines down from the top. Yeah, one of the more, we had this in Yevamis, but it's one of the more unique situations. V'Omar Rabbah, Nofel Mirosh Hagag, if a guy fell off the roof, V'Niska Be'isha, and he ended up, literally means penetrating a woman. He ended up being together with her when he fell off the roof. Right? And Rashi says it's talking about an average wind. So meaning, because it's Karav Lemezid, meaning he shouldn't have put himself on the roof if he knows that the average wind will come knock him off. So whatever it is, he fell off the roof and he ended up being boiled this woman. So now that's a rape. So chayiv b'daled dvarim, he is chayiv in the daled dvarim, which means that we're looking at it, because remember yesterday the rule was, if a guy damages by mistake, he's chayiv to pay the damages. He is not chayiv to pay busha. I'm sorry, not chayiv to pay the 4. He's chayiv to pay the actual damage. He's not chayiv to pay tsar, ripui, sheves, and boishes. Right? But here we're saying he is chayiv, which means that we're not looking at it that it was an accident, because like Rashi says, it was a regular wind. So he has to pay the 4 things. Like let's say it happens to be that the woman was a woman that he had to do yibum to. He is not koiner, right? Because that was unintentional. It was an unintentional bia, right? So meaning it was totally without kavanah. So fine. So then chayiv benezek tsar ripui and sheves. He's chayiv in those the nezek tsar ripui sheves. But boishes, right, again, nezek is just the amount of the damages, how much less she's worth now. Tsar is for the pain she underwent. Ripui is how much it costs to heal her. And sheves is how much because she couldn't go to work, how much she lost from that. So all those 4 have to be paid to her. Avo boishes, embarrassment loy. To Tanan, because the busha of this story happening to her, he doesn't have to pay her for. To Tanan, any chayiv ala boishes achi mischaven. He's not chayiv on embarrassment until he has kavana to embarrass her. And since he didn't have kavana to embarrass her, he didn't have any kavana. He fell off the roof by mistake. It was karav lemezid, but he fell off the roof by mistake, so he doesn't have to pay boishes.
I would think he's the person who was Mavayish. That somehow he got himself in this position. That is such a busha by all. They start asking him questions. He would turn not only red, he turned black.
Yes. Agreed. But Lamaisa, there is some busha on her end. So Mamela, he's going to have to pay for his own busha and her busha. Right? Okay, so Bama Rabba, then another case. Nofal Meroish Hagag Beruach She'ena Betsuya Behizik Ubayish. Let's say he fell off the roof, but a Ruach She'ena Betsuya, which means he's a Shoygig, because it was a wind that he didn't expect. and then he damaged somebody and he embarrassed somebody. Chayiv al nezek who potter b'dalad dvarim. He's chayiv for the damages, but he's potter on the dalad dvarim, like we said, because the shoygeg doesn't have to pay dalad dvarim. Baruch matzuya v'hizik ubayish. But let's say it was in a regular wind, and he damaged and he embarrassed chayiv b'dalad dvarim. Who potter al abayshis. He's chayiv on the dalad dvarim, and he's potter on the baishis. Bim nishafich chayiv afal abayshis. And if he turned himself, meaning he twisted himself in the wind, I guess, so that because he saw a person on the floor. When he was falling off the roof, he said, okay, let me spin myself so that I land on the person. It'll be a soft landing instead of a hard landing. So that makes it that he did it with kavana, in which case, even though the initial fall happened without kavana, but since he spun himself in the air to give himself a soft landing, so then he's chayev even on baishas. The Tanya mimashvish and nemar v'shilchi. Yeah.
Why does the rabbi have to repeat the case of Baruch Mitzuyah if you already said that case earlier?
I'm not sure. Because the earlier case doesn't say. It didn't say.
I know. Then why say that? Then why say the earlier case? Just say this case.
I mean, just skip out from the earlier case.
Yeah.
I mean, the chiddush from the earlier case is the bia part of it. This case not necessarily talking about bia. It's talking about any case.
So he could have just said, Baruch Mitzuyah earlier, and he would have covered all his bit. I'm saying, like, it seems like
Enochanami, yeah, he could have, yeah, mask him. Not sure. I'm not sure why it did it that way. Yeah. So again, he's chayiv on baishas the time v'mashvish and shilcha yada. This is talking about also another strange case where the husband is fighting with somebody and then the woman comes and grabs him in his private parts, right? So because the guy's starting up with her husband, so that's a big busha to him. So it says v'shilcha yada any yadei shechzika, right? Don't I know that she held on to him? I mean, the pasuk says v'shilcha yada v'sholcha yada v'chzika b'mavusha. She stuck out her hand and she held on. She had a chazaka b'mavusha in the place from the word busha, from the place that he would be embarrassed. So why is the any yadea? So mimashra again, the Tanya mimashra shenu v'sholcha yada any yadea shechzika. Don't I know that she was holding on to it? Mal tam l'chzika. Her kavana was not to embarrass him. Her kavana was to protect her husband, right? So, but once she's doing damage, once she has kavana to do damage with that she did, then you have to pay, and you have to pay busha.
See, Ruach Shana Mitzuyah is a case of shaygig or einus?
Einus.
And einus is chayiv? Are all einusim chayiv? When it comes to mazik?
What?
Adam hamazik einus is chayiv?
Adam hamazik einus is chayiv, yeah. Well, yeah, that's Adam would laila, no? Again, it depends what type of einus. That we says a machlokes.
That's what I'm saying. So
it depends how stark einus. Yeah, so each sheet.
You're saying Ruach Shana Mitzuyah is enough of it. It has a shtickle pshi in it.
Yeah, that is the machlokes, right? Exactly. Is it? Does it have to be a full einus to be potter? Any type of einus is. I'm sorry. Does it have to be a full? Even a full einus is chayiv, or a total einus is would be potter. So that's a machlokes rishonim.
So I'm saying this Gemara is saying it's less of an einus than even what that machlokes rishonim is. Otherwise, how do they explain Rabbah?
Correct.
You have to say it's even more shaygig and less einus than what we would say the guy in those cases.
Yeah.
That we're trying to
yeah, that's 100%. Yeah. So where we leave off? Yeah, so Vamar, okay, so that's that case. Yeah. Omar Vamar Rabba, another case. If a guy goes and puts a coal on somebody's chest and the guy dies in it, he's potter. Why is he potter? Because the guy should have taken the coal off the chest. right? But al big even nisraf chayev. But if he puts it on, if the guy was wearing clothing, and then it burned the clothing, then he's chayev. Why? Because he didn't really have a chance to take off. Well, Rashi's a different shot. Rashi's saying that the guy doesn't care that his clothing is going to get burnt because he says, "I'll just bring him to Bezdin, and I'll get paid for the clothing."
It's and you can't kind of call him a Shano Bacha Rishina boy.
I don't know.
No, he didn't put, the owner of the clothing didn't do something strange before. The guy put coals on his clothing. That's all that happened. He decided to leave.
That's a normal thing to do.
I mean, it's
not. That might be a Mishana, but it's Adam Amazik. But there's no Ba'acher Vishina boy.
Right. Okay, but either way, so the Gemara's chiddush here is that the guy cannot, he could say, I'm not going to take the coal off. I'm just going to get the guy to pay for my clothing, meaning to that he should die, that's his own fault. But to save clothing, it's not his fault. I mean, it's not his fault. He purposely didn't take it off because he said, I'll just get the money out of him. All right, fine. So Amar Tarvayu Tanani, we actually learned both of these in Mishnahs. Aliboy the Tanan Kavashallah L'Seicha Ora L'Seicha Mayim. Let's say somebody, Kavash literally means to crush, but he held him down in a fire or in water, and he wasn't able to get out of there, and he died. Chayev, he's obviously chayev. He killed the guy. But he just pushed him there. And he was able to get out, but he didn't get out, and then he died. Then he's pater, right? Because the guy should have been able to get out. So that's clearly the same case as putting the coal on the chest. Big day, the Tanan Koras Ksusai.
How do we know the person could have gotten out? He didn't get out, so how do we know
it has
gotten out?
So so I was wondering about that. If he was able to get out and he didn't, so that it's problem. But if he wasn't able to get out, right, then l'chayra he should be chayiv. But even if
he held him down and one is he pushed him. So if he held him down, he wasn't able to get out. But if he just pushed him, he should have been able to get out.
No, but let's say
we know the person could have gotten out. He
wasn't holding him down.
Right. He couldn't gotten him out. You're saying the guy wanted to kill himself, and just he happened to be lucky somebody pushed him into the water?
No, meaning you're talking about in a case, let's say he pushed him and there was a high wall and there was no way to get off. He couldn't climb the wall, something like that.
I don't know what case I'm talking about. I'm talking about we have somebody pushed somebody in the water and the guy died. And you're telling me, well, the guy could have gotten out. He did. Well, I'm telling you, he couldn't gotten out because he didn't come out of the water, right? So that's a right. He couldn't have gotten out. Otherwise, you tell me that the guy wanted to die. No, I know the guy wanted to die.
So I think.
Byron, you never got pushed. You never got pushed into the pool on Shabbos and came out a half hour later. The Rebbeinu Shalom's going to have tinus on you for the other 25 minutes that you were in the pool.
So what are you saying, Peretz?
Pushed him into the water. He could have gotten out. He didn't. He drowned 5 minutes later. That's on him.
Why is it on him?
He decided to relax and smoke a cigar in the water.
No, but what's it? He can't get it out.
Oh, if he can't get out, that's a different story.
Well, he didn't get out. That means he couldn't have gotten out. Because most people don't want to drown.
I understand, but it's similar to the case of the flame on his chest. Couldn't have taken it.
It's not similar. It has nothing to do with that case. Zero comparison to that case.
Well, the Gemara is comparing it.
Well, other than that, it has zero comparison.
Is it called Grava Benizakin?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I wasn't sure about. Let's say, like Rabbaran is saying, Hitaka couldn't get out. right? He couldn't get out. Whatever. I mean, it wasn't shaykh to get out. Then I think it's still. I don't know. Is that called the same as holding him under the water, or is that a grama?
Well, if the reason is because of a grumma, then all he is a grumma. He didn't know that the guy can't swim.
Oh, if it's a shot that the guy can't swim, he's for sure a grumma. That's not a question. I don't think. We're talking about where he couldn't get out. It wasn't possible to get out.
For what reason? Oh, okay, whatever.
I don't know. It
He's
was
still a grumma.
heavy...
He didn't. You can't say the guy murdered. There's no cherev biyadi.
Right. So I think
You could say that it's a case where a normal person would have been able to get out, but the fact that he landed on his head or whatever it is, he wasn't able to. But a normal person would be able to get out. Wasn't. He wasn't. So you have a case that a normal person would be able to get out. This guy maybe he knew how to swim, but the waves were too high or whatever.
It doesn't help. You're just changing the case. He's asking in a case where the guy can't get out. Is that considered a grama, or is that the Maisa of Hariga?
right. So I'm not sure, Taka, if it's a grama. I would think that it is a grama. That's what I would think. Anyways, okay. Big doy. What's the case of big doy? So big doy, the Tanan Koras Ksusai Shavar es Kedi Chayev. If he ripped his clothing, Ksusi, I'm sorry, Koras Ksusi. Right, a guy goes over to the guy and says, break my tear my clothing and break my Shavar es Kadi, break my pot. Chayev. Right? And the guy's chayiv, even though he asked him, hey, break my stuff. I'm a nas lift or potter, but if he tells him, you can rip my shirt and break my kli on condition that you're not going to be chayiv or you're going to be potter, then he's potter. Right? So you see that when the guy who's being damaged, right? If you see that the guy who's being damaged can be Michael, right? So then, for sure, in the case where the guy just decided, why should I take off the coals? I'm just going to go after him in Bezdin, then that's for sure going to work. Right? That's the way Tosfos says it. I actually had this case once. I made an early Shabbos, and a guy's walking by. I didn't make an early Shabbos.
Jack, I don't believe that for a second, but go ahead.
No, that I made early Shabbos?
Yeah.
You're right. I made a mistake. He made early Shabbos. He made early Shabbos, and he comes to me and he tells me his cufflinks, the opening for his cufflink is sealed shut. Right? So he asked me if I could open it. I said, I'll try and open it. I went and get a knife, and I'm trying to push the knife, and then whoop, I ripped his whole shirt. No good deed goes unpunished.
I told you that. That was the punchline.
Yeah. So I look at the guy, I was like, oops. I said, I have no idea if I'm chayiv to pay for this now or not. I mamish have no idea.
Jacob, tell him to text you the Shiloh and you'll respond.
Yeah, I thought maybe you slashed his wrist and killed him, and now you want to know
No.
or not.
Baruch Hashem, that didn't happen. But I did destroy his cufflink shirt, and he said, no, I'm Michael. I don't know. I went back and said, I gotta buy you a shirt. I met him a week or two later. I said, I gotta buy you a shirt. He says, no, I'm Michael. So
how could you did that to both sleeves?
No questions asked on this.
Matched up the
Can't ask questions on the Meister.
Rachman, downstate, we wear 2 sleeves on our shirts.
Right. So you only should be the worst to be Chatzi Nezik.
Oh, very good. Okay. Make litzonis of my tsar.
The guy probably framed the shirt. He's like, Rabbi Stein, bro, ripped my shirt. He probably framed it.
Yeah.
No,
maybe.
Jacob, it's probably a camp mice. The guy called home and told his mother the camp Rav ripped my shirt.
No, it wasn't in camp. It was not in camp. It was right. Yeah. In camp, I have to at least make a little bit that I made early Shabbos. You know what I mean? They can't use me as a Shabbos guy. That much I'm not going to do in camp. Anyway.
Is there ever an umdana with these cases that the guy for sure means that you'll be potter? I mean, I had a case 2 weeks ago. Someone here, a friend of mine, his keys got locked in his car with his kid. Engine is off. There's no air. There's no whatever. If he says, "Can you break my window for me?" Is there an umdana that he means? Obviously, I'll be potter because I'm saving his kid.
And you never know.
You never know, Taka. There's no umdana. He could
I've heard
say,
of
"Okay,
cases.
now I have to pay for the window."
I've heard of cases where they had tinus.
On a person they asked, or on the like the fire department because they
Oh,
figured
I
they
don't
could
know.
get
Maybe on
something
the
out
fire.
of
Maybe
that.
on the fire department. Maybe on the fire department.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, Taka. Anyways, okay, let's see weiter. So boy Rabba, hiniach kachelas alev avdoi mahu. Right. Let's say the guy put coals on top of the heart of his eved. Kegufay dami or kemamani dami, is an eved like his guf, right? Because that's what an eved is, right? So memela, if it's like his guf, and he didn't take the coal off, the eved should have taken the coal off, and he didn't, right? So memela, he's going to be potter. Or kemamani dami, or you say like it's mammon, and therefore the guy is going to be chayiv. Imtim salamer kegufay dami, and if you say it's like his guf, right? And Mimela, the Eved should have taken the coal off. Shoire Mahu, what happens if he does it to a shar? Because a shar certainly doesn't have the ability to take the coal off. I mean, maybe it can knock it off, but it doesn't have the same ability that a human does. So Hadar Pashta, and then he went and he answered and he said, Avda kegufai, shoire kimamayna. The Eved is like his guf, and the shar is like his money. Right? So that's the way Rashi explains it. Tosfos has a little bit different case. Tosfos says it's talking about where the Eved was tied up and his master was standing next to him. Right? And it's not talking about where the Eved died. He got damaged. And that's the Gemara Shaila. Why didn't the master take it off of him? So maybe the
Yeah,
master
this is
thought,
similar to the machlekes earlier by Gedi Kapos and Avdei Kapos. The Rashi holds that an animal doesn't have the das to. You're not going to be
to run away.
To run away.
Isn't that what Tosfos is referring to?
No, well, Rashi is clearly contested over there. Rashi says that Gedi Kapos is lav dafka. Tosfos holds it's dafka. So I'm thinking, is it the same machlekes we're seeing over here? Like similar to the machlekes over there. It was a dafka or lav dafka by Gedi Kapos. By an animal.
I don't know. I thought it's the same. It's the same machlokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Fine. Okay, so Hadron Allah Ketzer Regel. I don't know if anybody has L'chaim. It's you home?
I go have another Yall Goldmeister.
Okay.
And they had these tiny little bottles. I was like, 4-pack. I said, should I buy it? Should I not? Shabbos. Lo and behold, I had no idea we were making a CM on the Parak. So,
oh, you mamish. So you
Mamish Yall Gold. This is Mamish Yall Gold. Yeah, no, I shouldn't.
1 second, Parak. Let me patch him in right now. Hold on. Let me patch him.
No, you have to wait for Tisha B'Av.
Oh.
Okay.
When I see it in the book, I'll say, I know that guy.
Irony's
Is that
already
your special driving scotch?
Call in.
Just yeah. Okay. Where's Jesse for his L'chaim?
I'm right here. I already had it.
All right, good. I don't have any seltzer here. My non-alcoholic L'chaim. Okay. Anyways, fine. Weiter. Next parak. So this next parak is already much more. I mean, this parak is also pretty practical. At least the end of the parak. This next parak is also very practical. Halacha. I mean, it's complicated, obviously, like all these halachas are, but it's more practical. So if a guy puts his kad in Rosh Hashanah, and we'll see in the Gemara exactly what a kad is, right? But a kad, let's say they think they teach normally is a jug, right? No, kankanim is a jug, right? A kankan is a jug. So I don't know. Okay, so many some sort of utensil.
Jug, pitcher, or it can have it be referred to a barrel on the bottom.
Well, that's going to be in the Gemara, right? So that'll be in the Gemara. So okay, he put some sort of utensil in Rishus Harabim. And then a guy came and he tripped on it and he broke it. So potter, the guy is potter because what was your jug doing in Rishus Harabim? And let's say the guy who tripped on the jug got damaged himself. Then the owner of the chavis, which the Gemara is going to see why the Gemara changed from kad to chavis, that's going to be the Gemara's kasha, why the Mishnah changed from kad to chavis, but the bala chavis is chayiv in the damage. So here, whoever left this stuff in the Rishus Harabim is on the hook. He's on the hook because if it gets damaged, he's not going to get paid for it because he shouldn't have left it there. And if it damages somebody else, he's going to be liable. The most practical of this is kids' scooters left in the street. Right? Kid leaves his scooter in the street, and then somebody was backing out or left it behind the neighbor's car, and the neighbor backed out of the driveway, and the neighbor drove over the scooter.
Yeah, we don't know anybody who has a house like that, right?
No, we don't know. Huh?
You have a mother who plants these things.
Right. So anyway, so they drive over it. So now who's chayiv, who's not chayiv? Right. Pashtus is if you leave it in the street, you can't. The guy's not going to be chayiv, but we have to see in the Gemara. But anyway, so that's the case. And then the Gemara asks, Pasach bekad v'sayim b'chavis. The Mishnah seems to be talking about the same case. First, it describes it as a kad, and then it says chavis. Right, v'tran nami, and we have another Mishnah that says zeh ba b'chavisoi, zeh ba b'karasoi. You have two guys walking in the street. One has a barrel, and the other one has a beam. Right, nishber kadoi shel zeh b'karasoi shel zeh, and then this one's kad was broken with this one's beam. Potter is potter. They're also pasuk b'chavis v'sayim b'kad. There it said first it was a barrel, then it says a kad. Right, v'tran nami. This guy comes with his barrel of wine. And this guy has his jug of honey. And then the chavis, the barrel of the honey, cracked open, so now it's spilling all over the place. And this guy, realizing that honey is worth a lot more than wine, said it's worth his while to spill out the wine to catch the honey. So all he gets is the schar. Right? That's the only thing that he's entitled to. He does not get paid for his wine. Right? So we'll see that case also. But either way, again, pasach bekad b'sayim b'chavis. In the same case, it starts with a kad and finishes with a chavis. So Amar Papa, hainu kad, hainu chavis. What kad and chavis are the same thing. Right? It's the same exact thing. Now, it doesn't mean that it's teaching us that kad and chavis. That's not what the Mishnah was trying to do. It's just kad and chavis is lav dafka. That's what, as we say, lav dafka. Okay, so then lamai nafkamina. What's the difference if they're the same? So when it says lamekachum memkar for business, meaning if you offer to sell a guy a barrel, then you give him a kad, or you offer him a kad and you give him a barrel, whichever combination you want. So then we say that they're interchangeable. So the Gemara says, well, what's the case? If it's talking about in a city where they never mix up the two, right? It's not called it. So how can you say that it's called that? Meaning, if you have in a city that everybody calls this thing a barrel, and then you go to a guy and say, I'm selling you a barrel. Then you bring him a kad and you tell him, and where I come from, this is called a barrel. The guy says, well, we're not by your place. Here, I expected to buy a barrel. Now you give me a jug. Right? So that can't be the case. So most people call the kad and the chavisa. The economy, the karu chavisa, kadu chavisa. Of course, there's always the holdouts that interchange the two. Mao, the same as Zilpas Aruba. So you would think you should go with the majority on my base now. Kamash Malon, Dain Holchem B'Mama Nachra Roiv. By money, we don't go after the Roiv. Right? So then Mela, what's the practical What's the practical application? It means that even if they thought that they had an agreement for a barrel, and then the guy comes and brings a cod, he could say, listen, that's what I meant, even though the majority of people would have thought it was a barrel, right? So Tosfos asks Akasha, well, why don't you just see how much money the guy paid? There should be a big financial difference between the price of a cod and the price of a chavis. Right? So Tosfos says it's talking about where the price, one of the terutzim Tosfos says it must be talking about where the price was pretty close together. It's mashma from Tosfos that based on what the guy paid, you'd be able to paskin and say, no, this is what, this is what I meant to get. Right?
It's a very interesting lashon. Ein hochen b'mamon acha roiv. I mean, we always try to maximize our profit, don't we? This is like
what does it mean?
Correct.
What does that mean?
You don't paskin based on the roiv.
By what? What do you mean by moment? I'm saying when you pieces of meat on the street, that comes down to moment. That comes down to moment.
Why?
You have to buy a new piece or not buy a new piece.
That's not a financial disagreement between you and somebody else. Mammon means a financial disagreement between you and somebody else. That's a kashrus issue with the meat in the street.
Okay.
But if it would end up being that two guys are fighting over who bought that piece of meat and where did it come from, et cetera, and then it became treif, and they're trying to fight over who got the treif and who got the kosher one, then maybe Taka, you're right.
But with Siaka, there's a whole style, I think, in Shimon's cover about every monistic thing has an Isser component built into it because of Xelo.
Yes, but the other way is the Shiloh.
I know. I'm just saying you can go both ways with that.
Yeah,
The whole idea of mominus only stops from the fact that there's Isser.
Right.
If there's no Isser Xelo, there's no mominus.
Well, it could be a situation where there's not Gezel, no?
Whenever you're dining on mominus, you're dining who owns it. If there's no Indian Xelo, then there's no Isser Xelo, then there's no bias.
Two people are fighting over who bought the item.
So you're dining on Xelo at that point.
Yeah, I hear. But I don't know, does he say it in the opposite direction or just?
I mean, obviously, there's a din ein halchim amen acharoy. I'm saying that's established, but he goes through exactly how that works.
Right. Yeah. Okay, good. So somebody comes and trips on his jug or chavis or whatever it is and breaks it, so the guy's potter. So when I ask, am I potter? Why is he potter? He should have looked where he was going. Especially if you say Adamud La'ilam. Right? Why are we not saying Adamud La'ilam here? Right? So Amri Dvei Rab, Shmei de Rav, B'mamalev Shesharam Kula Chavis. It's talking about where the guy blocked the entire Rosh Hashanah with barrels. So there was no way to get through. Right? I mean, or there's another pshat, right? That it was so full that you couldn't really see. But whatever it is, it's talking about a case where it was not avoidable, but which mashma, according to Rav, that if it was your standard leave the bike in the middle of the street, then it could very well be that the guy driving the car over the bike is chayav because he should have looked where he was going, right? And that's, I mean, we'll get to hopefully we'll get to halacha l'maisa. Shmuel says it was at night, so really the guy should have watched, but since it was at night, so he couldn't see. Rabbi Yochanan Amar b'keren zavis. Rabbi Yochanan says it's talking about around the corner, where the guy came, around the corner and then he hit into it, right? So mashma from all these paiskim that stam, you would have to watch where you're going, meaning the Mishnah is talking about a very specific case. But other than that, the person that does the damage should be chayiv, right? If I wanted to one up Aaron Kaplan, if I wanted to one up what's the name of that Daf Yomi? Stefanski.
Yeah.
I would go through Three Stooges, right, and find examples for the next few blocks. I think that would be a gishma. I don't know if it's worth the time, but if you could find
they probably have a committee for their theatrics.
No, it'd be a geschmacka thing to find a few, coming around the bend, smack them in the head, then the wine spills, and then you fill it up. Maybe I'm just totally warped, but I was gonna actually. I have a few on my from my travels with my kids. I was thinking I should ask my kids to go through them till if they find a case like that. But I wasn't sure if that's great chinuch or terrible chinuch. So
I think it's in my car.
Oh, it's in your car?
I think so.
Okay, so Naftali, on your way to work, why don't you?
Okay. Yaakov,
yeah.
Tosfos over here actually says by the question of Yibayla that we don't say by an Adam the din of Kol Mashana Bacha Rishina Ba. That's why the Gemara has the question.
I mean, but that's
why the Gemara is asking why you should be putter, even if Kol Mashana Bacha Rishina Ba. Even if somebody left it in the Rishon,
you don't say that by Adam.
You don't say about.
You don't say about Adam.
Yeah,
very good. Yeah, very good. Did we say before? We always said it by right. We always said it by animals before, right? Animals doing the damage. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So weiter. Our Mishnah is mashma like Shmuel or Rabbi Yochanan. Again, Shmuel said it's somewhere in the dark. Rabbi Yochanan said he's coming around the corner. The Rav, my area niskal afilu shavar nami. Because if it's like Rav, why should the Mishnah say if he tripped? According to Rav, that the whole Rosh Hashanah was full of barrels, then even if he purposely broke it, he's gonna be potter because the guy took over the whole Rosh Hashanah with his barrels. Right? So this Gemara we're gonna have the same exact Gemara tomorrow. So who adin dafilu shavar. No, it means that even if it means that even if he broke the barrels, he's going to be potter. Right? So then why are you talking about if he tripped? I did the seifa because we needed to say it in the seifa. If he got damaged by it, then the owner of the chavis is chayiv. I'm chayiv b'niska. He's chayiv in his damages. The dafka niska, he's only chayiv. The owner of the barrel that left it in Rosh Hashanah is only chayiv if the guy tripped on it. Avol shaver loy. But if he purposely
you're allowed to break the guy's stuff.
Oh, so that's going to be.
They fill up the whole sidewalk. A guy's delivering to the grocery store. And he has the whole sidewalk filled. So you're allowed to just kick open the boxes so you can walk through.
That's the next, exactly, Rabban. That's the next sugya. That's mamash the next sugya.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Aval shavar loy, but to break it, not my timer. Who does a ganashe? He caused his own damage. I mean, who asked you to go break my barrel in Rosh Hashanah? If you decided to break it and you got injured, that's your problem. So Katani Reisha Niskal. So the Reisha therefore says Niskal. Fine. Omar Le Rav Abul Rav Ashi. Hachriyam Maram Mishmei the Rav. The Rav Ula, right? We had that once. Right? Rav Ula. That's not the regular Ula. So he says it's not the way for people to watch where they're going. So this whole Gemara's assumption was a guy watches where he's going, and he says no. Ravula says no. A person does not watch where he's going. Right? So since he doesn't watch where he's going, so therefore he is going to be. So therefore he's potter.
We just learned in Hilchos Chanukah, Ein Ayin Shalet is a Malman Esrimama. Right? That's why you can't put him on. The guy doesn't look up and he doesn't look down. I mean, everybody only looks in front of them. Come on. Either if he doesn't look up, then he looks down. He shouldn't step in dogs remnants, But
everybody's looking at their phone nowadays. They're never looking straight ahead.
But they didn't have the same phones back then,
I know, but it's a good point.
Yeah, but the guy was we're looking at the sun, the 40-pound sundial on his wrist. So then
you're right, David. Maybe that would change it nowadays. No?
No one is ever looking straight ahead. They're either looking at their phone on their watch, or they're looking at their phone. No one's ever looking at straight ahead.
Right. That's true. It's true.
You're asking Lamaisa, would Rav, Shmuel, and Rabbi Yochanan agree today to Ravula?
Correct. Today they might change it. Right? Yeah. What Akiva, you're saying the Tais is that a shor is always looking down, right?
By a shor, if a shor falls into a bar in broad daylight, you're not chayiv. Because it should have looked. It should have been aware. It should have been instinctually aware.
Because an animal is always looking down.
Always looking down. A human, Tyson says, does not do that. A human looks ahead.
Right.
Straight it. Meaning, so he's not. He's. I guess he doesn't have the same. He's not as aware of his surroundings, which is ironic that a human is less aware of his surroundings than an animal.
I guess we're really one-upping MDY because we're now doing Tysus. So
there you go, Vada. Anyways, so fine. So that was the fourth shot. Shmuel was Mechayev, the guy in Nardo. From Bedisa, Mechayev Rava, and Rava was Mechayev. So Bishlam Shmuel Kish might say, so Shmuel held like what he said. So that's why he was Mechayev, because Shmuel says the Mishnah only applies in the dark. But if it wasn't in the dark, then the guy who was walking in the Rosh Hashanah is going to be chayiv. Ela Rava Shmuel Svirale. So we're going to say that Rava holds like Shmuel. So Rapapa Karna da Atzrahavi. It was talking about a Karen, meaning a corner of the olive press, right? Meaning it's public property, but it's by the olive press. So there's meant to be barrels there. To keep in the B'Shuska Avdi, because since they did it B'Rishus, he should have looked into it to make sure to know where he was going, right? Because if you know that you're in a public place where they're going to be barrels around, and you just were irresponsible, you didn't look around, so then that's your fault. So you see how technical these questions could get. Meaning, if you're driving down a street past a school, right, you can expect scooters to be all over the streets. Maybe. Right? And you should have watched where you're driving. Right? I'm saying this, it's mamish, each of these dinim can mamish change according to the situation. Fine.
Like Mamish saw something today on this Karni Atzri. Marie Curie, there's a thing in Paris where you can go see Marie Curie's work.
Madame Curie.
Okay. But if you actually want to go see the papers, her own notebooks, they're hidden behind lead because her work was in radioactivity. So they make you sign a waiver before you go in. They give you the biohazard suits, all the radioactive, protective gear. They still make you sign a waiver that if you die, it's on you, not them. That's this Karni Da'atzri business. If you know something's there, it's your problem.
Interesting. They think there's still radiation on those things?
Well, there is. She's buried in a lead casket because they figured out the radioactivity stuff.
Wow. I hear. Okay. Fine. So now, Shalach Rav Chisda Rav Nachman, new sugya. Now we're talking about what the things are that cause busha, meaning how much you have to pay. Hare Amru l'Rakuva Shalosh. If a guy knees somebody, all right, so that's more embarrassing. All right, a guy, he walks over the guy and hits him with his knee. So to get injured by that is a bigger busha. Ula be'ita, to get kicked, that's even more. So that's 5. Le Sankoi, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Sanoikeres Shloishesrei. Sanoikeres is the saddle. A saddle is 13. 13, was it Sela? Right? Lepanda demara ulukafina demara mai. But what about a handle of a shovel, or the bottom of the shovel, the actual shovel part? Then what would be the din if you got smacked with that? How embarrassing is that? So Shalachlei Chista Knasa Kamma was a bubble. You're in Bavel. You're collecting Knasas in Bavel, right? I mean, from here he's learning that Bush is a Knas. But why are you even asking this question? You're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be taking Knasas in Eretz Yisrael in Bavel. Emily Guvaduvda, tell me what the story is here. Right? So Shalach Le Dahu Gargusa de Beitre, there was a water fountain that belonged to two people. The Kol Yaima have a deli chad minayu. Every day they alternated. One would take out water this day, one take water the next day. Also chad kadali b'yam delay delay. The one guy came and took water. It wasn't on his day, right? It was on the other guy's day. Amrale Yaima didihu. So the guy told him, the partner told him, it's my day today. He didn't listen. So Shakal Panda Demara Michya. He took the handle of the shovel and he hit him. Right? So Amrale, so he told him back, Meya Pandi Bapanda Lemachye. Right? Or Lemachye, I'm sorry. He can even hit him 100 times with that shovel, with the handle of a shovel, and he's going to be potter. Why? Even according to the opinion, Rabban, this is what you were asking before, even according to the opinion, that a person cannot take the law into his own hands. But everybody holds that if the guy's going to take a loss, if he doesn't take the law into his own hands, then he's allowed to do that without going to Bezdin. So this guy who was not going to have water that day, so it could very well be that his crops or whatever are not going to have enough water, so therefore he's going to take a big loss, so therefore he's allowed to smack him up and beat him in order to get back his water. Very dangerous halacha. It's a very dangerous halacha. This halacha, right? And saying how much are you allowed to beat a guy because he took your water?
Do we paskin this way?
Also, we have to see. So let's see. De'itmar Rav Yehuda Amar Loi Averinish Dina L'Nafshei. Rav Yehuda says a person cannot.
All the cowboy movies, they used to hang the guy for stealing the horses.
Right. I don't know if it's a raya, but yeah. You know, Rabbi, I'll make a deal. I'll look for the Three Stooges. You look for the cowboy movies. So, a person cannot make his own din.
The thought of just that reruns is just with Three Stooges Bonanza. Just
What you say, Haas? What you say?
What are you saying, Akiva?
He's Teka Yid. The youngest brother's a Yid.
Who, Little Joe?
Little Joe's a Yid, yeah, Ronowitz or something like that. Yid, never he died, yeah.
Really? I didn't know.
Yid, yeah.
But anyway, what were you saying, Akiva?
I don't understand. Let him be mazik you, and you'll be taveir and bezdin. Like, why does it?
Okay, good.
Let him be mazik you. So, worst case scenario, he ruined your field. So, every mazik, in worst case scenario, you'll be taveir him afterwards. Why the Malcolm say do we allow this? Let him be mazik you. That's normal dayanim.
So that's going to be the. Let's see. The itmar. Let's see. The itmar. Rav Yehuda Amar loy ovid inish din l'nafshei. A person cannot make his own din. Rav Nachman Amar ovid inish din l'nafshei. He could. Where the guy's going to take a loss. Everybody holds you could do din l'nafshei. Ki pligi hechid the lekap pseida where there's no loss. Meaning it's not going to be a loss. If he waits to go to Bezdin, he's not going to have a loss. So a person cannot do a din to himself. The kiman the lekap pseida, there's no loss. Lazel kamei daina, like Akiva just said. Let him go to a dayan. Why should you decide for yourself? Rav Nachman Omar Ovid inish din l'nafshei. He can do the din to himself. The kiman the bedin of it, since lamaisa he's keeping the proper din. Loy torach. Why does he have to have the tircha to go to Bezdin? He doesn't want to go to Bezdin. He say, listen, you're stealing from me. I know it, and Mamela. I'm going to take the law into my own hands. And this is the way we paskin. We'll get to it a little bit more tomorrow, maybe. But that's that is the way we paskin. Now, I don't understand how this works practically, because let's say the guy says, but he says, I didn't steal it from you. The guy says, you did steal it from me. Meaning, is this only in a case that it's obvious? L'chayra, right? That's what you have to say.
That's what it's saying. Yeah.
It's only mamash where it's a slam dunk that the guy's a ganav. He guy himself won't even deny it, right? But if the guy denies it and says it's mine, then I'm assuming you can't take the law into your own hands, right? But then what happens? So let's say you did take the law into your own hands, and then it comes out and they go to Bezdin. It comes out you were right. So then, did you do something wrong? I don't know. I don't know how this works practically, right?
A guy's blocking your driveway. You have to get to work, so you push his car and you damage his fender.
Right.
So you're allowed to do it because otherwise you're going to lose a day's pay. You know, we get fired from your job or whatever
right.
the case is.
So right, so that's a lawsuit, so you have to do it, and then clearly the guy's wrong. Clearly the guy's wrong. Yeah.
It could be also here. There's another thing. He's damaging the guy himself. So you have the timer that we had on our dollar. Walk away.
Who?
You can't say that with the guy who he's hitting. Reuven's hitting Shimon to get his well privileges back. So besides for the fact that they both agree that it's Reuven's day today, not Shimon's, but when he hits Shimon, they just jump the other way.
Right.
Take a swing at him, walk away. So if he's
what about
then it's his problem that he got hit. He has no timers when he goes to Bezdin.
Right, I hear that. And what is time money for this? Is time considered money? No, really. Like Rabban is saying, like, we're the guy with the two guys, the Gemara's case at the water. So he says, I'm not going to take a loss if you take my day today, but I schlepped a half hour to the well. I don't want to have to come back tomorrow to get my water. I'm here now.
Yeah, and Yaakov Avinu is probably not going to show up to move the rock. So
very good, right? So so I don't know how that works. My grandmother's she lived across from a certain big Hasidus, who somebody on this daf is a chassid of that Hasidus, and they used to double park her in to go daven at whatever late in the morning.
Yeah, and they daven at 2:00 over there too.
But whatever they daven nice and late, and they would block her in. So she would take out her oily lipstick and write all over the guy's car and windshield how chutzpah ganze megillas to because what are you blocking me in? So I guess that's some sort of damage. But what are you going to do with it? Causing a hefsid. Yeah.
A friend of mine's grandmother had the same thing. She was like 80 years old, and the guy was blocking her driveway. She goes, knocks on the door, and says, "I'm backing up. You could be here, you cannot be here. But I'm backing up." Gets into her car and floors it. That guy moved.
Yeah.
She wasn't stopping her.
Yeah. Then Shlomo Zalman, Rabban Shlomo Zalman, all of a sudden did this in Borough Park. I remember when he told me to Maisa. The guy was double parked. Shlomo Zalman is trying to get through the double park car. The guy says, "You got room. You got room." Shlomo Zalman says, "I don't have room." You know this Maisa? You know the Maisa?
I know the Maisa.
Is that how it went?
He took off both mirrors and kept going.
He turned. He went through, took off. I don't know. He took off his mirror, scratched his car, turned around, said, "You're right. There's room," and he drove off. Right. Then he did that also in Woodmere once. No, somebody screamed at him. It's unfortunately out of the Yomi.
Like he says, what?
A guy screamed at him, "You whatever Jew."
Yeah.
And he followed him all the way to that farmer's place near Grand Park. And the guy got out of the car and he drove his car into the guy's car and he looks at him and says, "You're right. I am a Jew." And he left. Right? Neshama should have an aliyah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait till Rummy watches tomorrow morning to YouTube.
Okay, let's say some Tillim. Say a Tillim, especially if they go
the
back.
Wrong Shlomo Zalman already. Shlomo Zalman.
What are you talking about, Sadnowski?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you know something good for.
No. He's the one who said that wasn't it. Wasn't he the one who said that if you if he ever found out he wasn't Jewish, his biggest thing he wants to do is wear shatnez. There's no
No,
bigger
he's
tie
not,
than
it's not, maybe Dinah said it also, but I heard this a different way, the story. When they were sitting Chayzer B'tshuva fellows, they were all telling over stories of different Sachen. And some guys missed like a really good stuff. They came to Shlomo Zalman and says, boy, I missed those shot in his suits. I wonder if I could have him shot in his suit again now.